So to take this apart, this is a key. This part is actually pretty tricky. I'll give you that. You actually have to turn this counterclockwise. So looking at it from the top, you actually want to turn this to the right. That's going to actually loosen it. Now, that's probably backwards to what most would have thought, but it is actually, in fact, the way you're supposed to do it. So my hands are really greasy. There we go. Okay. So that's how it comes apart. Turn it to the right, it'll loosen off. Now take off the entire half. I believe this part will come out. If you can get a grip on it. Yeah, so there's your piston. And there's actually a Schrader valve built into the very back of it. There's your piston, and there's your spring, and there's also a washer. So the washer doesn't really matter how that's in there. Just drop it into the back. What I would do is, if you're cleaning this thing out, just clean off the piston here. I would also maybe put a little bit of the rag inside of the piston housing and clean that up a little bit too. Okay, drop the spring back into the front. Grab your dowel. Mine's over here. Dowel 55. Again, go ahead and lubricate the entire O-ring here. Just one O-ring. Make sure it's nicely lubricated. Okay, that looks good. Drop that. I drop it into the back part. There we go. Remember, turn it left to tighten it. Now I got crap all over the outside of it. Alright. There we go. So, now to tighten it back up, you don't have to wrench it down. Just snug. There we go. Done. So that's how you do the LPR. Now the HPR, obviously it's already off of the body, but fairly similar. The easiest way to do this actually is just hit it on a table or something. And if you can get a grip on the piston. There we go. So there's the piston. And there is basically the same thing as the LPR. You can see that there's actually a contained shim stack in here, which is actually a really good idea. Basically this bottom blue piece is basically like the washer we saw in the LPR, but it holds all of the shims and everything on this little stem. So the piston, or the shims don't go flying everywhere, which means you don't have to worry about getting the shim stack all mixed up. So I'll clean off the piston. It's the only moving part in here really. Again, lube that. Almost too much there now. Okay, and the other thing, you will probably want to toss a little bit of lube on either try to get it onto the O-ring at the top of this shim stack, or you can try to get some on the inside of the piston here too, because I believe it does have to seal on there. So there's your basically the whole working part of the regulator. Grab the housing, drop it in, and there you go. I guess with the LPR I forgot to put this in. But very, very easy maintenance on the two regs. They're very simple. There you go. This one you don't even have to adjust, so you should be able to just leave it where you normally would have it. Put it back on the gun, and guess what? Since we did change the LPR, suddenly you don't look like an idiot if you have a tester. Oh, one thing I forgot is, just a sec, this one actually, the O-ring on here will probably stay lubed unless you clean it off, so that one's fine. You don't actually have to lubricate them very much, it's just to make sure that you don't tear them when you're taking the regs on and off. So I'm just going to toss a little bit on the, there's 3 O-rings on the end here, so may as well get some lube on them. And there you have it. So I directly put on the tester, and I can set my LPR to the right pressure, and then everyone will be happy. So there you go, guys. There's pretty much the entire G6R in I don't know how many videos this ended up being, but there you go. That's everything you'd ever have to do with your G6R. You may mangle it in some way that I haven't really mentioned here, but that's pretty much it. So hopefully if you have a G6R or really any Intimidator platform, hopefully this helped. Or if you're like me and you just kind of like to see how things work, hopefully these videos were enjoyable for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I thought I may as well show this while I'm doing it. So here's my gun with LPR tester and a tank. I'm sure most people will understand this. It's really straightforward. The cool thing about the pressure testers they're doing now, as you can see, the gun you can actually shoot while you have the pressure tester on there, so you'll be able to get a very accurate setting on it. Since I didn't adjust my HPR, this pressure, which doesn't even look like you can really see. Anyways, the pressure on this gauge is the reg. Oh, there you can kind of see. It's set at about 180 or so. On my card, I know I need my LPR at about 75. I was looking for my card for a second. I don't see it around here. Anyways, I want my LPR at about 75, and if you could see this gauge, which you probably can't, it's at about 50. So, best thing to do is turn the adjuster a little bit, and I put something over here so it's not so loud, and then take a look at your pressure. Looks like I went a little bit too far, so I'll drop that a smidge. And perfect. There we are, 75. So that's really the best way to do it. Usually, if you're going up in pressure, the gauge will show it immediately. If you're going down in pressure, though, you do have to clear out the gun, at least shooting once or twice to make sure. And there you go. You'll be able to set up your pressures pretty much exactly the way you need them on the field. And then, chrono it really quick when you get to the field, but you're probably good to go.